Good morning. In this lecture, we will be looking into the essay In Search of Our Mother's Gardens by Alice Walker. Let's begin. Alice Walker, born and brought up in Eatonton, Georgia, in a family of sharecroppers, was a popular writer, critic, and activist. So, Alice Walker was born in 1944, at Eatonton, Georgia. She was born into a family of sharecroppers, that is, they were tenant farmers who gives a part of each crop as rent. She is a popular writer, critic, and activist. She has coined the term or the word womanism, which she feels has greater dimensions than feminism. So the term womanism, which is a form of feminism that acknowledges women's natural contribution to society. And this term was used by some in distinction to the term feminism and its association with white women. Walker is the first black woman novelist to win the Pulitzer Prize for The Color Purple, which was made a film. So she is the first black woman novelist to win the Pulitzer Prize. For which work did she got the Pulitzer Prize? It was for The Color Purple, which was published in 1982. So other famous novels are The Third Life of Grange Copeland, Meridian, The Temple of My Familiar, Possessing the Secret of Joy, and By the Light of My Father's Smile. Her collections of poems are Once, Houses Make a Landscape Look More Beautiful, Revolutionary Petunias and Other Poems, and her blue body, Everything We Know, Earthling Poems. In Search of Our Mother's Gardens is a much celebrated essay which lends its title to the collection. So the essay that we have to learn is part of a collection of essays. The title of that collection is In Search of Our Mother's Gardens, Womanist Prose, a collection of 36 separate pieces written by Alice Walker. So Walker is highly ecstatic about her mother Minnie Lou's skill for gardening and textile work. Walker is so joyful about her mother Minnie Lou's skill for gardening and textile work. In the absence of literary models, Walker ventures out to discover rejoicing, celebration, and hope in her mother's imaged garden. There was no literary models for her, so what she did was she undertook a daring journey to discover great joy, celebration, and hope in her mother's imaged garden. Imaged garden meaning a representation of the garden. It reveals how human imagination interacts with the land to create beauty and art. By imagining her mother's garden, she is interacting or is communicating with the land to create beauty and art. Lou's art manifested itself not only in the quilts and the flower gardens she planted, but also in the stories she told. So her mother's art revealed itself not only in the quilts meaning a thin cover filled with feathers or some other warm, soft material which can be put over blankets. Also, her mother's art was not restricted to the flower gardens, but Lou's art was revealed also through the stories she told. Walker pays tribute to several artist mothers who have made indelible marks in spite of their limited circumstances. Walker, through her writings, is paying tribute to the imperishable marks made by several artist mothers in spite of their limited or restricted conditions. So now let's begin the essay. When the poet Jean Toomer walked through the South in the early 20s, he discovered a curious thing. Black women whose spirituality was so intense, so deep, so unconscious, that they were themselves unaware of the richness they held. Jean Toomer is an American poet, a novelist, and an important figure of the Harlem Renaissance. Harlem Renaissance, it was an intellectual, social, and artistic explosion centered in Harlem, Manhattan, New York in the 1920s. This period is considered a golden age in African American culture, manifesting in literature, music, stage performance, and art. His first book, Cain, is considered to be a significant work. The novel is structured as a series of vignettes revolving around the origins and experiences of African Americans in the United States. Vignettes means a brief evocative description, account, or episode. So it is said that why Walker has brought in Toomer is because in Cain he has immortalized his famous trip to the South, and that place is an hour's drive from Walker's own hometown. The women that Jane Toomer presented were women of Walker's mother's time and circumstances. In the essay, it is said that when Toomer walked through the South in the early 20s, whom did he find or see? Black women who were not aware of the richness they held. They were spiritually so intense, deep, and unconscious. They stumbled blindly through their lives, creatures so abused and mutilated in body, so dimmed and confused by pain, that they considered themselves unworthy even of hope. These black women walked in a way that seemed not controlled. That is, they walked blindly through their lives. These women were abused, treated badly, that they thought themselves unworthy even of hope. That is, they have lost hope in everything. In the selfless abstractions, their bodies became, to the men who used them, they became more than sexual objects. More even than mere women, they became saints. These women have become saints, and their bodies become more than sexual objects, more even than mere women. Instead of being perceived as whole persons, their bodies became shrines. What was thought to be their minds became temples suitable for worship. So the bodies of these women became shrines or a place regarded as holy, and their minds became temples that are right for worship. These crazy saints stared out at the world, widely like lunatics, or quietly like suicides, and the God that was in their gaze was as mute as a great stone. Due to the abuses that they faced, these women looked at the world like mad people, and God looked like lifeless for them. Who were these saints, these crazy, loony, pitiful women? So Walker is asking, who were these saints? Some of them, without a doubt, were our mothers and grandmothers. So these saints are those women who are referred as crazy, loony meaning a mad or silly person, pitiful women. They were her mothers and grandmothers. Here Walker personalizes these women by referring to them as our mothers and grandmothers. So moving on. In the still heat of the post-reconstruction South, this is how they seemed to Jean Toomer. Exquisite butterflies trapped in an evil honey, toiling away their lives in an era, a century, that did not acknowledge them, except as the mule of the world. Here, Walker says that these women appeared to Jean Toomer as exquisite butterflies, that is, as outstanding or excellent, were trapped and is made to do hard work, or they are made to work hard. But the century or era in which they lived did not recognize their worth and considered them as the mule of the world. For Walker, the mule of the world image helps to illuminate why the narratives of African American women have remained shrouded in darkness. In Walker's understanding, the mule of the world helps to explain the burden of what it means to be an African American woman. They dreamed dreams that no one knew, not even themselves, in any coherent fashion, and saw visions no one could understand. They wandered or sat about the countryside, crooning lullabies to ghosts and drawing the Mother of Christ in charcoal on courthouse walls. So the dreams they dreamed and the visions they saw were not understood by anyone. They wandered or sat about the countryside, humming lullabies to apparitions, and drawing the Mother of Christ, that is Mary's image, in charcoal on courthouse walls. That is, these women and their talents were not acknowledged by the society. So, this is all for today. Thank you.